I've been waiting for the past 9 to 10 months, and I also do have an offer letter, but I've never heard anything from Qatar Airways. Are we going to give a refresher interview even after having an offer letter? Are there any chances to get rejected after the refresher interview? But there are some people who are being called without the refresher interview. What about the others who are not being called at all? How much time does it take after the BB photos? All of these questions are going to get answered in this video. And if there is any question that you require an answer for, then this video is for you. Stay tuned and keep on watching. Hi everyone, my name is Twinkle and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As the title suggests, and you must have seen the intro so far, that the questions that have been there in the back of your mind are going to get addressed in this video. Yes, I've absolutely gone ahead and make a big list of all the questions that you have in your mind and all the questions that I've been getting throughout continuously in my DMs, and I decided to answer them in this video so that we can get some clarity about our future, our application or our candidature with Qatar Airways. So if you have any of the questions regarding your date of joining, your timelines, are you going to get called for a refresher interview, what happens in the refresher interview, etc, 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 then please continue watching this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, like this video and share it with all those people who have been waiting for a future with Qatar Airways. Let's begin. So as I already mentioned, I have made a list of all the questions so that I don't miss even a single one, and I'm going to address all of them one by one in this video. Let's just start with the questions. So the number one question that I'm getting is what happens after BB photos? Basically, what happens after submitting your blue background photos, which is the last stage after your final interview. Basically, once you clear the final interview, you wait for some time to get an email, and you usually get it into 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes it also takes longer. So you get this email to upload your photographs. And people are asking me what happens after this stage. So what happens is, after you're cleared and you're not called to re-upload your photos, if they're satisfied with the kind of photos that you have uploaded, then you will get a medical's email. You have to submit a few test reports. They are very basic ones, the blood test and X-ray, all these basic tests, because the other parts are going to get done once you're in Doha. So that is done. Once that gets cleared and your documents are all done, dusted, they do not have any other requirements from your end, your passport, your visa gets processed, and after that you get an offer letter. So the major part is already done after your interview, but the only processing part, which is your photographs, your medicals and your documentation, followed by your offer letter, clearance is required for all these things, not just by the airline but also by the government, because they are taking care of your visa. Once all of this is done, you are called to Doha. That's the date of joining or date of travel that you can await from the company. This is what happens after the BB photos. Question number 2. Is it true that all the candidates get invitation for reappearance for the refresher interview? So now you must be knowing that people have been waiting for a very long time, 9 months, 7 months, a year, so on and so forth. So the question for them is, the question that I'm getting is it true that all the candidates have been invited for reappearance? So there was a little bit of information that only people who've been waiting for 9 to 10 months are being invited for the refresher, but that's not true. There are people who are being invited even after waiting for 1 year or less than 1 year or 9 months also. So there is no standard that you can set that people only who are waiting for a time period of more than 9 months are getting calls for a refresher interview. That's not true. Apart from that, people who are waiting for 9 months or a period of 1 year or even lesser, some of them have not been getting calls for refresher interview. For that matter, no calls at all. And there has been a lot of people, specifically from Chennai, who have been getting calls directly for their date of joining. I have a question with respect to that. Let's wait for that question for me to address this concern. Next question, question number 3. Is there any chance to get date of joining without refresher? Yes, absolutely. There are so many chances of getting a date of joining and a date of travel without the refresher, and that has nothing to do with the pattern of your wait time. There are people from Chennai who have gotten calls from Qatar Airways 2 to 3 days back. They were asked a few questions again, reconfirming their marital status, their scars, anything that has changed in their medicals or some major change basically in their application. That was asked. Their interest, if they're still interested to join the airline, was asked, and they were told that your date of joining is in April and tentative date of travel is 9th of April, the batch which is starting from 11th of April, and this is for a female. So in this case, no refresher interview was given. The specific candidate was waiting since August and there was no refresher interview invitation that was passed. Only a confirmation and few questions were done on a phone call, and she was informed that she would be sent an email for date of travel as well as date of joining. So you don't necessarily need to be invited for a refresher interview. Apart from the candidate from Chennai who has already gotten a call for date of joining and date of travel without the invitation for refresher, there is a candidate from Delhi as well who received a call from the airline confirming their interest and a few questions. However, she was only assured that you will be receiving an email about the further process. On being asked, she was never given an assurance whether she would be invited for a refresher or she would be directly invited for date of joining or date of travel, because the process has just started and they also have no information about it. So if you have a question like, will we be invited for the interview or directly given DOJ, there is nothing clear, but the good news is they are doing it slowly. Things are pushing, things are moving, and it is going to take time. Also, not to miss, she was told if she has not been given any information about the refresher so far, or she has not received an invitation about a refresher interview so far, then she did not need to worry about it, as she might not just be required to give any interviews at all. Next question is, when and how does the status changes on our applicant login? So I have a few questions where people keep asking me about what does this status mean, especially MBR requirement. What does that mean? MBR external, that means met basic requirement. And I have to tell you something, you do not need to worry about or start preparing depending on what your status says. Sometimes the status does not change even after the emails have been sent. Sometimes you are done with your final interview, your status will still say invited for meet and greet. It is automatic, it is a computer, and there might not be instant changes in the status. So you do not need to operate according to the status, according to the computer. And if you want to know what does it mean, if you put the cursor on it, there will be a little message that describes what does the status means. There is no timeline for it. 1 week, 2 week, months, it might just not get changed at all and directly gets changed when you are traveling. So don't rely on status changes. Next question is, who all are being called for a refresher interview? So my answer is, so far the people who already had the date of joining are being called. Date of joining, by that I mean already had offer letter with them, not after sending BB photos. So far, only people who had offer letter were invited for either a refresher or have been given a date of joining. Nothing has been done with the people with blue background photos so far. Having said that, not everybody who has a date of joining or offer letter received an email for refresher interview, or even after refresher interview, after giving a refresher interview, did not receive BB photos email to re-upload them, because you might just not require to re-upload photos. You have to understand the fact, if the recruiters don't want you to re-upload photos and they are convinced there are no prominent changes, then they might just not require you to re-upload photos and you will directly get a date email, a date of joining email. So do not stress about that. We are not still getting emails even after giving a refresher interview. Next question is, when can we apply if we don't receive an email after final round? So my advice to you is, usually if you get rejected after the final interview, you should wait for some time, because you've already submitted your BB photos. If you do not receive a rejection for at least like 3 months or 6 months, you must go ahead and apply within 3 to 6 months for sure. You can try, because there are people who have been applying and they've also received an invitation. And after meeting the recruiter, when they talked about their story, their application journey, the recruiters very well asked them that it's no problem, you can give an interview again and let's do it all over again. So yes, there is an option for reapplying. Therefore, 6 months time period, after 6 months you can apply if there has been no communication at all. Nothing has been communicated to you at all after submitting your blue background photos. No rejection, no selection, then you can definitely go ahead and apply if they are rehiring in your particular location. Next question is, are there any changes in the English test? So yes, there has been 2 changes. Number 1 is that now they are including 2 comprehension instead of 1 comprehension passage. Number 2, they have reduced the time from 30 minutes to 20 minutes. That means they've reduced 10 minutes in your English exam time. Next question is, can we go for our interview, refresher interview, without the stockings? I would advise you to not go without stockings. I would say go with stockings, because if at all they require you to remove your stockings to check your scars, you can very well do that. However, it might not be a best idea to go without stockings at all. But having said that, if they call you on the day of final interview without stockings, which is very normal, which is what happens usually, then you should follow their instructions. Next question, can we get rejected even after reassessment, which is the refresher interview? Absolutely yes, for all the practical reasons. If they find you, your mindset, your application, anything in your application, in your interview that they find is not satisfactory anymore, they can reject you, but that will be only based on your current performance and nothing to do with their personal agenda. You have to understand there's nothing personal. If they had already decided not to hire you, they would not waste their time calling you again for a refresher interview. Next question is, are they getting strict with their scar policies in the scar check rounds? I would say not really, but if you are someone who has more than 2 scars or more than 1 scar, out of which 1 or 2 are prominent, and you have around 3 to 4 scars, then they might not choose to process your application, because then it's a lot of email exchanging and verifying and permission from higher management, as compared to people who have no scars or 1 scar which is light in nature. There are no standards, there are no patterns that they have. And however, if you feel that the scar, you are sure about that the scar is only the reason for your rejection, then I would highly recommend that you go and work on your scar treatment. Next question is, have the refresher interviews finished for Delhi or any other locations? No, the refreshers are not finished for any location. In fact, for Delhi, there were a number of people who had been invited for a refresher interview on the 1st, where some of them got pre-pone invitations. A few of them also got emails for postponing the date to 29th of March. So they haven't yet finished with their refresher interviews. I know there is a high possibility that it will still get postponed, but it's not yet finished. Next question is, what about the rejoiners, specifically males? So the rejoiners, as per my knowledge, have been asked to wait for the time being. Any rejoiners that have applied, most of them haven't gotten calls from the airline, to wait and be on hold for some time. And as far as males are concerned, are they being put on hold? As of my knowledge, no, they're not being put on hold. Next question is, can we reapply? If yes, then when? Yes, you can absolutely reapply after rejection. If you've been rejected in the first round or second round, you can very well apply to any other location. However, as discussed a few questions back, if you're someone who's been rejected in the final interview, then I would personally suggest to wait for at least 3 to 6 months to reappear for any interview, for a fact that there is some time that is needed for you to improve, whether it's your documents, resume, or your preparation altogether. Next question is, how much do we have to wait after submission of the blue background photos? So it really depends case to case. Some people receive it within 24 to 48 hours. Some people receive it after 3 to 4 weeks or even months. However, there are people who have started receiving rejections also within 2 weeks from their application. Next question, are people with experience in BPO industry or being a graduate a red flag? I have to clarify this. The experience in a business process outsourcing industry, which is a BPO call center industry, or if you're a graduate, does not make you highly qualified, or your experience does not get nullified. None of them is a reason for rejection. Both of them are equally accommodatable. So don't worry about it. Next question, have some of the candidates got calls for date of joining without a refresher? Yes, absolutely true. As I just mentioned in the first few questions, that there are people who've started getting date of joining in April, date of travel also in April around the 9th and 11th. That's very much true. People have started getting calls for date of travel without giving a refresher interview. Next question, is BMI important for medicals? Well, as far as my knowledge is concerned, once you clear the medicals in your own country and once you clear the final interview, the BMI is not going to create much problems. Middle East Airlines are not very strict that they would not accommodate you if you are 1 to 2 to even 3 kgs over or underweight. They would definitely advise you, but they will give you a fair opportunity to work on it. Also, my own experience, once you're in Doha, if there is not a very big change that you've just changed and the BMI has just gone out of proportion, then you will not face any problems. You should not really worry about BMI after your medicals. Next question, can I walk in for an invite only Bangalore interview if I've not received an invitation? My advice to you is do not do that. Even if you get an entry, you clear your day 1, day 2, you will be definitely asked to leave after the final interview. The worst part will be the recruiters are most of the time same and they will remember you for what you've done, which is not something that you should be doing. Therefore, I would highly recommend not to attempt any such things. Also, in future, it can reduce your chances to null if you do such things. I'm saying this because this has happened in the past. Next question, what if the HRs don't like the old candidates? Which means if there is a candidate who has been selected, who has the offer letter, date of joining, everything, and they go for a refresher and the new HRs don't like the pre-selected candidates, are there chances for rejection? Well, I would not say there are no chances of rejection at all. There are chances of rejection because there are people who have not been receiving any communication after their refresher interview also. However, the chances of rejection for people who have had offer letters as well as date of joining and nothing much has changed in their applications are very less as compared to people who will be called after their BB photos. Next question, what about the people who didn't receive anything at all? No calls, no interview. What about them? So I would just say that the positive thing for now is that they are moving. They have started calling in people in Chennai and Delhi and they are calling them to know if they still are interested or not. So they are moving, but how far have they planned? How fast is this going to move? Then I have no specific answer to this. Next question is, will we have to reappear and redo everything from scratch after finals? Those who have the date of joining and are only waiting for offer letter. Well, let me clarify, date of joining means you already have an offer letter. In that case, you will not have to go through the whole process again, which is why they are only calling people for refresher and not have asked you to reapply from the scratch. So probability of you doing everything all over again is very low. I don't think so. Next question is, what about the visa procedure and document check? How does this happen? So visa process, your clearance, your passport, every single thing is taken care by the company. The only document they need from you is a passport, and all the things, government clearance and your visa is taken care by the company. You don't have to take any headache whatsoever regarding your travel. Next question, what happens in medicals? So there are two types of medicals. One is done by the company. This is after you reach Doha. So there are two types of medicals. One is done by the company doctors, and one is done by the government. Both of them will be assisted to you by the company. So number one, by the company is very easy. They will do ECG, X-ray, a psychologist conversation, a test, a blood test. All these tests will be conducting, included Ishara and eye tests and hearing tests. All of these will be done. In the government medicals, your tests will be eye test, the blood test will be taken for HIV, all these tests are done. So these are two separate medicals, one for the government, for the country, one for the airline, which is done by the company doctors. Next question, is it okay not to attend the interview after invitation? Absolutely. I mean, There are people who are not getting invited. If you think for any reason you're not able to, or you don't want to attend an interview in a location, that's absolutely fine. But what you cannot do is take that invitation for one location and seek entry into another location. Next question is, how long we have to wait after the refresher interview? As of now, there is no clue. Whatever I know so far, none of you have received anything after the refresher interview. If you're one of those who have attended a refresher interview, then please let me know in the comment section below. What is your journey so far? What is the communication? In fact, if you're someone who's given a refresher interview or is been planning to give a refresher interview, please check my previous videos about the questions that are being asked in the final interview, because they are asking everything related to final interview, the same questions, everything copy paste in their refreshers also. And there's another video about the update on on-hold candidates. You must go and watch both those videos. Next question is, can we hear directly after BB photos? Well, in my opinion, the candidates who already have the offer letter, and if you take the candidates with only BB photo submission who have not received any communication, the chances for people who have nothing in their hand, which is after BB photo selection, are more to get a refresher interview as compared to the one with date of joining. So people who already have date of joining with them, they have more chances of getting a direct date of joining as compared to BB photos. In my opinion, I feel that people with BB photos only might have to go through the whole process again, or might not just get DOJ directly. It's just an opinion. Now the last question for the day is, I have uploaded photos during application. Can I get a mail again for photo upload? Yes, you can absolutely, and you will in fact get a mail to upload your photos, specifically when your photos are not as per guidelines. Even after submitting your photos, the maximum of 2 to 3 times, if you're a great candidate, can be given for you to re-upload your photos as per the guidelines before they reject you. And that's all for the day. I think I've covered all the 21, 22 questions that I had received from you all, covering all aspects of ambiguity and probability, possibility that you have in your mind. Even after this, if you think you have any questions that have not been addressed in this video, you know the drill. You only need to put them in the comment section below. Please assist each other, communicate. Let's just go ahead, become a community and help each other. Share your experiences and your timelines in the comment section below. I will see you in my next video. If you have any questions, suggestions, concerns for any other videos that you want me to cover, also put them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button and share it if you like these kind of videos too. I will see you in my next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.